Good evening. My name is Wallace Bradley, and I'm the host of the Bradley Report, presented to you by United in Peace, Inc. I'm also the president of United in Peace, Inc. We got an interesting show today, and it's dealing with the homeless, the migrants, and finally what the people of the city of Chicago, especially the voters, and everyone that's concerned about doing something for the homeless, while they try to figure out on how they're going to get the money to do something for the migrants. This show was put together by none other than the producer of this show, and she's the chairman of United Peace, Inc., and she's also my wife, so to God be the glory. That's Gator's story. But without further ado, let me bring this show to you. Sister Monty, let's go to work.
And for much of the Chicago area's homeless population, home is a cot in a room shared with strangers. Cook County is trying to change that. It recently funded 2 hotels that offer longer-term apartment-style living, providing professional support, privacy, and stability. In partnership with students at Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism, we explore what this response means for Cook County. Here's Medill professor Ava Thompson Greenwell.
As you get older, you get worse and worse and worse.
62-year-old Maurice Butler has spent about 20 years living on the street.
You know, my body is tired, my mind is tired.
When he was recently diagnosed with terminal kidney and prostate cancer, he says he knew he needed to find a more permanent and private place to stay.
It make a great difference in my life. You know, sleeping on a bus stop, you got to sleep with one eye open, or a park bench with one eye open, one closed. Here, you can close your eyes and you can let your body rest. You can take a shower. You can feel good about yourself.
At Evanston's Margarita Inn, which is interim housing run by the nonprofit organization Connections for the Homeless, Butler was offered a temporary home.
Saying we have got to get these vulnerable populations out.
Butler's time at the Margarita Inn is a complete 180 from his previous shelter experiences.
This place is nothing like that. They're not putting you out at 5 o'clock every morning. I mean, 5 o'clock on a Sunday morning, where you going? Ain't no church open. You can't go to church on 5 o'clock in the morning, so you got to walk the streets.
The Margarita Inn is one of 2 hotels bought by Cook County funding. The cost? Nearly $14 million. A move Nia Tavalaris from Connections for the Homeless says is working.
It's showing that it's much more impactful. So prior to the pandemic in that congregate setting, about 40% of the folks that we worked with would exit into a stable housing situation. Here at the Margarita, 70% of the folks that have ever come through here exit into a stable housing position.
The hotels were originally used as temporary solutions during the COVID pandemic. Housing advocates say they are turning out to be significantly more effective than a traditional shelter approach.
Now families can stay intact and again really focus their efforts on, moving again to that next destination.
The Right Inn in Oak Park is the second hotel purchased with county funds. The nonprofit Housing Forward runs it.
We're providing them with that stabilization that they need. There's the psychological safety of being able to shut your door and have a level of privacy.
Both former hotels feature semi-private rooms, 3 meals a day, and support services prioritizing privacy and independence.
That's our main goal. We just want financial stability for our kids and a good environment for them to grow up and not have to worry about anything, basically.
Access to these features at the Right Inn helped Janelle McField's family when her partner lost his job. With 3 children and another on the way, she says being able to have their own space was crucial.
I've heard about shelters, and especially with younger kids, it's very hard. And so here you can have a bit of a peace of mind, a bit of a piece of somewhat home.
These services include on-site medical care, access to a life skills coordinator, and caseworkers, helping to lower the barriers to permanent housing. Latricia Freeman is a life skills coordinator at the Margarita Inn.
For the life skill coordinator first to come in and say, first of all, you're welcome, you matter, And this does not have to be your end.
Cook County used American Rescue Plan funds for both projects.
Sleeping in church basements is better than being on the street. However, this is not, nobody would choose that if they had other choices. And so we're trying to be sure that people have more traditional housing, despite the fact that they're struggling financially.
The service coordinators from both organizations say they expect this holistic approach to lead to more long-term success.
You can sleep peacefully, you can have a peace of mind.
For WTTW News and Northwestern's Medill School of Journalism, I'm Ava Thompson Greenwell.
You know, that's a wonderful thing that County Board President Prattwinkle, Tony Prattwinkle, give her props. She's the president of the county board, and the county board commissioners doing what they can to help with the homeless and affordable housing. For my viewing audience, you need to know that the county board president is responsible for everything within Cook County. That's the suburbs, be it west, north suburbs, south suburbs. And that's a blueprint that I think, that I know. I believe that the mayor and the city council should be able to do something similar to that with, I know you probably be seeing a lot of motels or hotels or whatever it is that could be renovated to help with the homeless situation, like we just witnessed that Tony Prattwinkle is doing for Cook County. But that's up to the mayor and the city council, which is the legislative body. But one thing that the mayor and the city council is pushing, especially within his budget, it has something to do with the homeless and affordable housing, to the tune that he may have $120 million in that budget. But you got to have a steady revenue stream in order to take care of the homeless and affordable housing. And it's up to the people within the city of Chicago that asked the mayor to be more concerned about the homeless and not just the migrants. So he was able to get a referendum. Him and the city council was able to get a referendum on the ballot in this election. You can go vote for it tomorrow, all the way till March 19th. So if you're concerned about the homeless, like I'm concerned about the homeless and affordable housing, don't choke. Come out and vote. You can show your power by coming out to vote. You're not being taxed to vote. You got a chance to be a part of the solution. And all you got to do is come out and vote yes. Vote yes to the Bring Chicago Home referendum. Says more than 68,000 Chicagoans are experiencing homelessness, including over 17,000 Chicago public school students. The Bring Home Chicago ballot referendum that's on the ballot. After you vote for who you want to be judge, who you want to be Supreme Court justice, who you want to be appellate court justice, who you want to be a commissioner, the most important thing, in my opinion, and yours too, because I hear you voicing your opinion about something being done for the homeless and affordable housing. The Bring Chicago Home ballot referendum creates a permanent funding source to end homelessness for thousands of Chicago families by restructuring the real estate transfer tax, a one-time tax paid when property is purchased. Approximately 93% of Chicago home buyers will see a tax cut with them voting yes, and by you voting yes, and by me voting yes. 100 million. Bringing Chicago home will generate at least 100 million in new revenue to address homelessness. Bringing Chicago home will provide affordable housing for thousands of families over the next 10 years. So let's not make a mess when all we got to do is vote yes. Okay? So, Sister Monty, could you play that next piece from
Now
me?
at 4:30, a new state-funded shelter housing migrants opened today in Little Village.
This is the city reveals new numbers that give us an idea of how much the migrant crisis has cost.
CBS 2's Sabrina Franza is live with the breakdown. Sabrina.
Both Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor J.B. Pritzker have said the federal government needs to step in with more funding and more space for asylum seekers making their way to Chicago. We do not know what will happen if Congress doesn't act, but now we're learning more about millions of dollars the state says they will contribute towards the migrant mission.
This while a new shelter is opening in Little Village, funded by the state and set to house about 220 people. Of the almost 600 people waiting for a more secure shelter, the city reports over 300 are living in buses at the downtown landing zone. The new Little Village shelter, a former CVS, will only slightly alleviate that number.
And I actually visited yesterday. It's phenomenal what we've been able to do in a relatively short period of time and to accommodate very young children. You know, early childhood education is very important to me, making sure these young children have a place that they can play even in a very difficult situation. That's been put into this site.
As migrants move in, staff starts work too. The city releasing new data on their vendor spending as it relates to migrants. Favorite Healthcare Staffing, a Kansas-based firm, continues to be the highest earner. The city paid them almost $97 million to assist the migrant mission between December 2022 and January of this year. Going forward, CBS 2 has learned the city and state modified their contract with Favorite Staffing to spend an additional $30 million with that staffing firm, stating that making this modification was, quote, not reasonably foreseeable at the time the contract was signed.
In total, the city has paid migrant-related vendors $156.2 million. That's between December of 2022 and January of this year. And that also includes some money from the state, money from FEMA, and money from the city. But it does not appear to include money the city has spent on their own internal structure, like streets and sanitation, Chicago public schools, to help educate new arrivals when we get here. We will keep digging into those numbers. For now, we're live in the newsroom. Sabrina Franza, CBS 2 News.
You know, as you read, County Board President Tony Prattwinkle and the governor, J.B. Pritzker, they met, I think it was maybe a couple of weeks ago, at the mayor's office. And evidently they agreed to come together to find some more money for the migrants. Well, when it came time for the mayor to put some more money in or come to the city council to ask for more money, more than the $150 that he already has in the budget, it was brought to my attention that he decided that would not be the right thing to do, to go back before the city council and ask for some more money for the migrants, when he's been going back and forth to Washington, D.C. to tell the president and everyone else, because that's a federal situation, that the city of Chicago need more money for the migrants. It can't come out of the city budget when the budget is mainly for the services for the residents of the city of Chicago. And so the governor and Madam President Tony Pratt-Winkle, they come to decide that they're gonna come with $250 million to help with the migrant situation. Now, that may be for the state and it may be for the county, okay? But this is my solution. I think that the city council need to put together a resolution and hopefully signed by the mayor, asking Illinois Attorney General to put a restraining order against that governor in Texas to stop them from sending the migrants here without sending the money that they're getting to help the migrants there along with the migrants here. Because when we find out that the bus companies getting paid $1,600 per migrant that they bring in here, that's a lot of money if each bus is carrying 70 migrants. Okay? I think the county board president and the Cook County commissioners need to also put a resolution together asking that the Attorney General of Illinois put together a TRO or whatever it is against the governor in Texas to stop them from sending migrants here. Because out his mouth, and when I read in the media, he's doing these things not from a humanitarian point of view, not from a point of view to solve the problems at the border. This is a MAGA Republican that tells everyone he's sending them to Democratic states and especially Democratic cities to cause chaos and confusion. That's a malicious intent. And I feel like the governor and the Speaker of the House need to talk with the Senate President and come with legislation where they're asking the Attorney General to do the same thing. Because what that governor is doing is causing disruption to Democratic states. That's the governor. If he messed up his budget, he can't take care of responsibilities for the state. If he hurting the counties, the county board of commissioners can't take care of responsibilities to the residents of the counties. And if he's doing it to the city of Chicago. So enough is what the people are saying. And I'm inclined to agree with them, especially when the individual that's sending them here has a malicious intent to cause chaos and confusion. You can't do no more than what you can do. You can't take the taxpayers' money that has no problem when they know that that money is going to benefit the taxpayers within the city or the county or the state. So they need to do that. But that's not for me to say I'm a registered voter, but I know I'm going to vote yes for the homeless because the people are saying let's do something for the homeless and affordable housing. Sister Monty, could you hit that next story for me, please?
Caring for migrants this year, including providing shelter, health care, and transitioning them into their own housing, is estimated to be $321 million. That's according to the governor and the Cook County Board president, who today announced a plan to cover $250 million of that.
And so I'm grateful of the work from the state as well as from the county and the work that they have done and what they are committed to continuing to do.
But when the mayor was asked about the city committing to fund the remaining $71 million needed for migrant care, he repeatedly dodged the questions.
There are a lot of things to consider in this entire operation. It's not just financial resources. I'm committed to this mission as I've been. And I'm grateful that we have partners at the state level and the county level who are also committed to this mission.
If we could get an answer to whether $71 million will be committed by the city for this part of the mission after the state and the county committed theirs. The mayor did not answer that question, instead pivoting to talk about the overall operation. The governor saying in a statement, it is clear the state, county, and city will have to do more to keep people safe. And Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle adding, we cannot wait for additional resources. Mayor Johnson, after being pressed numerous times by reporters, suggesting that he was counting on the city's $71 million portion of this year's migrant funding to come from the feds.
But the goal is to ultimately challenge the federal government to do its part, because local municipalities are not designed and built to be able to hold this type of operations.
One alderman suggesting that at least part of the migrant money could come from American Rescue Plan funds that the city already has, but the mayor shot down that idea, saying those funds will go to help Chicago's disinvested neighborhoods.
That's just what I'm saying. Even the county and the governor is realizing that there's just so much that they can do. But they need to put their minds together legally from a common sense approach. When you got an enemy, I say an enemy because he's a MAGA, Trump-loving Republican. The same way like the Speaker in the United States House is a MAGA-loving Republican. Trump leads them like a puppeteer. When it came time for them to have a solution for the border, Trump called the Republicans and told them, squash it, destroy it. When it came time for the House to come for a solution for national security in Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan, and with the border, the Speaker, the Trump-loving MAGA Speaker, Republican, same type of Republican that's sending them here from Texas to cause confusion, sent the House for recess until February 28th. All our problems, y'all seeing on the news, I'm seeing on the news. I'm not hating. I'm just telling you the truth. What you see, believe that is happening. It ain't coming from the Democratic Party. It's coming from the MAGA, Trump-loving Republicans. You see what I'm seeing. The man says he don't care if Putin and the Russians do whatever they want to do to our allies, which is NATO. I didn't say it, I'm reframing what he said, but Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I'm asking my viewing audience, call your aldermen, call your Cook County commissioners, call your state senators and state legislators, and ask them. And for a shortcut, call the Attorney General's office. We elected him. Put it in the court, get a temporary restraining order. You can stop it. You see how Trump is stopping stuff? Go to court. Stop that man from continuing to fly these people in here by planes and sending them by buses. Then the bus drivers drive off, and then the ones that come in there to chaperone them in the planes, he take an Uber, they drive off. Stop him, and you can do it in the courts. So I just want to say, if you're really concerned about the homeless and affordable housing, vote yes You can start tomorrow. Vote yes. March 19th, 2024 is the election. Make your vote count. To God be the glory. That's my story.
Yes.